Dry weather in southwestern China has caused massive hydroelectric dams to fail, forcing towns to impose rolling blackouts and increasing the country's reliance on coal. Due to a lack of power, car assembly plants and electronics factories in southern China have shuttered. Electric car owners are queuing overnight at charging stations to recharge their vehicles. Rivers are so low that ships can no longer transport supplies. A record-breaking drought and an 11-week heat wave are wreaking havoc on an area that relies on dams for more than 3/4 of its electrical generation. Factory shutdowns and logistical delays are impeding China's efforts to revitalize its economy as President Xi Jinping prepares to run for a third term this autumn. China's ruling Communist Party is already battling to overcome a recession caused by the country's rigorous COVID lockdowns and a collapsing real estate market. Young people are having difficulty obtaining work, and residents are being compelled to save rather than spend, and to postpone purchasing new homes. The excessive heat is now adding to the frustration by slowing electricity supply, endangering crops, and igniting wildfires. Reduced hydroelectric dam electricity has pushed China to burn more coal, which contributes significantly to air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions that cause global warming. Many cities across the country have been obliged to implement rolling blackouts or reduce energy consumption. Several neighborhoods in Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province, were without power for more than 10 hours a day. Vera Wang, a Chengdu resident, said her boyfriend waited in a long line overnight at a charging station that was only partially operational simply to charge her electric car. By the time he got to the front of the line, it was 4 a.m. The line stretched from the subterranean parking lot to the road outside, she explained. For more than 2 months, China has been burned by a heat wave that has stretched from Sichuan in the southwest to the country's eastern coast, with temperatures reaching 104 degrees on many days. Last Monday, the temperature in Chongqing, a sprawling southwest metropolis of roughly 20 million people, reached 113 degrees Celsius, the highest figure ever recorded in a Chinese city outside the western desert area of Xinjiang. The scorching heat sparked wildfires in the mountains and forests on Chongqing's outskirts, requiring thousands of firefighters and volunteers to put out the flames. Residents reported that the air smelled strongly of acrid smoke. The drought has caused dozens of rivers and reservoirs in the province to dry up, reducing Sichuan's hydropower generation capacity by half and harming industrial activity. Volkswagen has shuttered its 6,000-employee Chengdu production for the past week and a half, and Toyota has temporarily halted operations at its assembly plant. Foxconn, the world's largest electronics producer, and CATL, the world's largest manufacturer of electric car batteries, have both reduced production at nearby sites. The Yangtze River has reached the lowest level for this time of year in Azhou, a city in central China near Wuhan, since records began in 1865. On August 19, the Communist Party's official newspaper, People's Daily, stated that the Yangtze River has dropped to the same average level it regularly reaches at the conclusion of the winter dry season. However, the effects of the electricity shortage are being felt far from the southwest, particularly in China's eastern cities, which are hydropower importers. Electricity is being rationed in some companies and commercial buildings in cities such as Hangzhou and Shanghai. Kevin Ni, an online marketing employee in Hangzhou, claimed his office was stuffy because just a few air conditioners were allowed to work. "We've got to eat ice pops and sip iced drinks," he explained. "I merely put my hands on the ice pops to chill off." Falling water levels in major rivers that service the region's primary transportation hubs have caused delays throughout the supply chain. Many ocean-going ships can no longer access upstream ports because the Yangtze River has receded so much. Because the upper Yangtze Basin generally receives half of its annual rainfall in July and August, the failure of this year's rains could imply a long wait for more water. As a result, China is forced to divert a huge number of trucks to transport its product. A single ship's cargo may necessitate the use of 500 or more vehicles. "We're losing a few months of highly efficient transportation," said Evan Rogers-Pei, a food and agriculture specialist with Beijing-based Trivium. The heat wave and drought are also raising food prices in China, particularly for fruits and vegetables. Farmers' crops and orchards are starting to droop. Sichuan is China's biggest producer of apples, plums, and other fruits, and replacing fruit trees can take up to 5 years. This month, the price of bok choy, a favorite cabbage, has nearly doubled in Wuhan. That will cause further economic pain, which is the last thing the leadership wants, Ms. Pei explained. On Tuesday, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs and 4 other agencies issued an emergency notice warning that the drought presented a significant threat to China's autumn harvest. China's cabinet approved $1.5 billion in disaster relief and rice farmer support on Wednesday, as well as another $1.5 billion in agriculture subsidies overall. The government has advised local officials to seek for new water sources and a lot more electricity to help farmers and promote the planting of perishable green vegetables in major cities. Water has been sprayed on fields and delivered to pig farms using fire engines. The catastrophic weather sweeping through China may have ramifications for the global effort to combat climate change. Beijing has attempted to compensate for some of the lost hydropower due to the drought by increasing the use of coal-fired power facilities. China's domestic coal mining has been at or near record levels, and customs data show that the country's coal imports from Russia reached a new high last month. However, China's reliance on fossil fuels calls into question the country's commitment to curbing the growth of its carbon emissions. In the short term in China, said Ma Jun, director of the Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs, a Beijing environmental group, the very, very painful fact is that only coal can serve as the base for electricity supply. For many years, Sichuan province has enticed energy-intensive sectors including its chemical manufacture with extremely low electricity prices, he claims, and some of these industries have squandered power via inefficiency. Mr. Ma, on the other hand, was upbeat about China's climate strategy, adding that China is absolutely dedicated to carbon targets and renewable energy in the medium run. The government has attempted to alleviate the economic effects of global warming. Last winter, China's top economic planning agency, the National Development and Reform Commission, formed a working group to study the implications of climate change on water-related businesses such as hydroelectric dams. While such initiatives may help China sustain the profitability of renewable energy programs, they may not drive China to limit coal consumption this year as a quick fix, according to Ed Cunningham, head of the Harvard Kennedy School's Asia Energy and Sustainability Initiative. They're a lot more at ease with coal, Mr. Cunningham explained, and the reality is that when there's a hydro shortage, they use coal.